gosh, now I got to get busy. Of course, now it gets really hard because everybody gets busy. And now you've got field trips and end of the year concerts and end of the year testing. And all of a sudden, it gets really hard to do all the things that you're like, oh my, I really got to get this done. If you're interested in this video and the other hacks that I post throughout the year, then go ahead and subscribe to me on YouTube. And by trade, I am a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing. I am still teaching, and I have been an itinerant teacher. I've also been a classroom teacher, resource room teacher. I've done all the things. I created the online itinerant to save you time and make your life easier and help you support kids who are deaf and hard of hearing, shave hours off of your time with what all you do. Let's talk about seniors and transition because this is it. You are literally at the end and you are about to take your I picture it like taking your sword and just like blessing that like the like royalty does with the knights. It's like you are now on your own. I've done all I can do for you and now it's up to you. Hopefully by now your students have an idea of what's happening next, where they are stepping into after graduation. I often tell my students, you're not married to this plan. You're not married to going to the school or getting this job or anything like this, but I want you to be on a path that you have a direction. I don't want you to leave and not have your car pointed in the right way and knowing what the next steps are. And so that's always very important to me. So hopefully your students are there. But we're going to walk through these 6 different things that I want to make sure that you are empowered to be able to work with your students between now and then. So we have been working on communication repair for years, right? Sometimes schools don't allow us to write communication repair goals. So then I have to build it in sneakily into my curriculum. But that is the top number one skill. I say, I want to make sure that you know how to get back into the conversation when you're lost. So if you're feeling like you missed something, you need to know, how do I get back into this conversation? And this is the time that we are role playing, like tons and tons of role plays for them. And just teaching them how to say in their language, bruh. What was that? Back up the bus. So I love to teach them that slang and teach them how to do that. If you are a member of the Professional Academy, there are some great tools for you inside of here. This is inside of your account. So for those of you who are members, this is the teaching toolbox. And if you click inside of here, then you will see there's 2 areas that I'm going to show you quite a bit tonight. And this is the self-advocacy and the transition. Really, they go hand in hand because transition is self-advocacy. But inside the self-advocacy, I've got a number of communication repair activities. And the one that I want to point out is this lemons to lemonade one, because this gives some scenarios. Now, for my high school students, I don't show them the pictures. I just give them the scenario and I talk through it and I like to role play it. But in here, we've got pictures and it's all about real world stuff. So I take this and I'll modify it and then we talk about it and then I role play it. But if you haven't used this before, this is really nice because this one gives you the opportunity to talk about what happened and what's the problem. Is the problem you because I can't see you? Is the problem me because I don't have my hearing aids in? Is the problem the environment because we're outside and it's just noisy? Like what needs to change here? And then we talk about work through what do you do in these situations. So this is something that you can use it really young, but you just modify it and change the situation. And again, I just talk them through it. The online itinerant, everything has an app, so you can put it on your phone and you can just kind of look at it and just use it as a tool. And again, just use that language like, bruh, help me out here. I missed it. That is one resource. But communication repair, I like to say, you are going to be in different environments, and I guarantee you're going to miss whatever is happening in the workplace, in the classroom, at the dinner table, at the restaurants. You're going to be going to cafeterias, and there isn't going to be an adult who's going to ask people to rephrase stuff. So it's up to you to be able to do that. So that's skill number one. Teach your students, make sure they know how to get back into the conversation. Skill number 2, self-disclosure. Our students, they do not want to say, I have a hearing loss, right? They hate it. So now we get to say, guess what? This is totally up to you. This is called self-disclosure, and you get to choose who knows and who doesn't, like who you tell and what you tell them. But then we have to really talk through the advantages and the disadvantages, or what can happen if you disclose or if you don't disclose. And there are times that students don't need to disclose, or maybe they don't want to disclose. I have had students say to me, at the job interview, I don't want to disclose that I have a hearing loss. And you know what I say? I say they can't discriminate against you. They can't. But then they say, how am I going to know if they're discriminating against me? And what am I going to do? What if they do discriminate against me? I don't want to risk it. And so we have a whole conversation about what is the risk? Like, how likely is it that you might misunderstand something? And which risk is bigger, if you misunderstand something or if you tell them? And so I really talk through this concept of self-disclosure. It's up to you. But when might you want to disclose? How do you want to disclose? And what would that look like? And so, of course, my favorite thing about this, about working with seniors, is that now I'm the coach, right? Now we're really just the encourager, and we're really just saying, okay, let's practice and let's just feel really comfortable with it so that they feel like they've done it when they leave the class. Again, I'm going to go into this section that's called, again, we're back in the toolbox. Again, if you are a member of the academy, by the way, if you are a member of the professional academy, I want to make sure that you know that all of your families get free memberships to the Friend Academy. That's our parent program. And in our parent program, we've got parent trainings just to help parents understand the impact of hearing loss and how it impacts their child and what they can do to support them. But they also get this toolbox as well. So this has got activities and tools for them so that they can also support their child and kind of know what this looks like. This is the transition section of this. And there is a whole section here called disability disclosure. It actually has interviews with people talking about what happened when they disclosed, what went well, what didn't go well. We want to make sure that the kids know about disability disclosure. The other thing we want to make sure that they know is how to do an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is the automatic thing that comes out of the mouth that says, hi, I have a hearing loss and I need to see you. I need to sit close. I need to close the door. I need whatever. It comes out super, super smooth and you can modify it for whatever situation. Every successful deaf or hard of hearing person that I know has an elevator pitch. And this little video is my favorite elevator pitch of all times. How many of you can recite that elevator pitch? Right? You like, hello, my name is, you killed my father. This is who I am. This is why you need to know you killed my father, and this is what you need to do about it. You need to prepare to die. And then it's the whole movie is that's his elevator pitch. Okay, so my name is Sam. I have a hearing loss, and this is what you need to do to help me. And this is what you need to do to help with that. So if there is one thing that you can equip your student with, it's give them that elevator pitch and teach them how and when and help them walk through when to disclose them. Because that is the strongest tool that they'll take with them wherever they go. Number 3, top thing that we want to make sure our students know before they graduate, how to independently manage their technology, how to independently get new hearing aids and get their appointments and know what the newest technology is and how to prepare to pay for it. If you've got kids who are not yet 18, you want to get them to the audiologist now before they're 18 because they may have Medicare or they might have an insurance that will provide them with brand new hearing aids, but it ends when they turn 18. So we want to make sure that they are getting to those appointments before they're 18. But we also want to make sure that they know the difference between the Miracle Ear location that's outside of the mall and the $50 pair of hearing aids versus the audiologist that you can go to and the $5,000 pair of hearing aids. What's the difference? And now that over-the-counter hearing aids are coming out, like what is the difference? So inside of the academy here, let me just go back. I'm going to go back into the transition section. And this is actually a worksheet that I do with the kids, and then I put in a binder. I'm going to talk about my transition binder here at the end. But there are two little things right here, worksheets, and this is understanding the differences between the audiologist, the hearing aid dispenser, and a hearing aid dealer. So we need to know who's who, because as soon as you leave here, you're going to be navigating this and it's going to look a little bit different for you. So there's a worksheet, and then they can print it and put it in their binder. And then the other worksheet that I like to make sure that people are familiar with, again, that's inside of this program if you are a member, and that is understanding the difference between the ENT, the clinical audiologist, and the educational audiologist. Because once they graduate, they're going to lose that educational audiologist. So what's the difference between all the people that are on their care team, their hearing team? Now, it's very unlikely that our students are going to graduate and that their parents are going to be like, whoa, okay, you're on your own to do this. But at some point, there's going to be some kind of transition. So we do want to make sure that they've got the materials and the know-how. And I actually have a lot of conversation with the parents at this point, and I say, I really recommend that you are start having your child making these appointments and just practicing being the person who's in charge of all of this. A lot of my students have no idea how much hearing aids cost. They have no idea how to get funding for this. They have no idea how insurance works. They have no idea about any of this. And these are things that we want to make sure that they've got the know-how of how to do. Okay, now let's talk about this as well, because I know that you may have students who actually don't wear hearing aids. And maybe they haven't been wearing hearing aids, and here you are. You're like, oh my gosh, you're going to graduate. I know probably the day that you graduate, you're going to put your hearing aid on your desk and you might not ever use them again. I love showing also the new and upcoming technology. I don't know if you've seen the new Oticon hearing aids. I'm not kidding, they're invisible. The whole hearing aid is the size of your pinky, and it goes in your ear, and it just looks like the black hole in your ear. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming out. So for your students who they're still very resistant, having this conversation about the new technology that's coming out and what it looks like, why they might want to be learning about it and keep their eyes on it. Okay, so that's number three, having independent management of their hearing technology and care, knowing where to go for their hearing aids and how to care for them. This next one is one of my favorite ones, and this is a really fun one. It's tricky in today's society because cell phones are now banned, and your students aren't supposed to be having cell phones. Their cell phone, this is their accessibility kit. This is their portable accessibility kit. They should never honestly be without it. Now, should they be listening to music and surfing in class? No, they shouldn't. But they should never be without their cell phone. And honestly, if you are having a school that's pushing against them having their cell phone, then I would push back and just make sure it's in the IEP, because this is an accessibility issue. We don't allow we don't say to kids who are in wheelchairs that they're not allowed to have their wheelchairs in school because nobody else can have roller skates on their shoes. That we would never say that, because that's how they get around. That's their accessibility. The cell phones for our students it is their accessibility for a lot of ways. So anyway, we want to make sure that our students know about all of the accessibility features that are out there for them and all of the technology. So on their phones, they need to know all the features that are available to them on their phones, including the captioning, including your phone can become a DM device. Did you know this? There are apps on the phone that turn this into the microphone, and you can put it on the table in a restaurant and it will become a microphone. And so your students need to know how to use this and use this as their device. They need to know all of the accessibility features within it, but they also need to know about the other accessibility features that are out there for them. Let me share my screen again. If you've got kids whose parents are still waking them up or whose dog wakes them up and they're still not independent about getting themselves to school or anything like that, this is when we start really leaning into them having the technology to be able to be independent with these things. Again, here we are inside the transition section of this toolbox, and you can find this stuff anywhere, but this is like the different special products and technology. This is a catalog. This takes you to a website, and this particular website is Hear Worlds. And this is a catalog, and you can go through all of the different hearing technologies, the watches, the alarm clocks, the lights for fire alarms, for all of this stuff. So this is fun for your students to shop around and know that this exists, but also just fun and Google stuff. Sit with your students and Google, how do deaf people call 911? A lot of areas you cannot text 911. How are your students going to communicate if they have an emergency for 911 if in their area you cannot text 911? So this is all of this assistive technology that we want to make sure that they're pretty savvy with. Okay. Also, inside here, there is a whole video for your cell phone features accessibility. So I say, go get your cell phone. Let's do these. And if this doesn't fit for their phone, if for some reason this is a different feature than their phone, then just Google whatever their phone is, accessibility features. Guarantee you there's a video for it that you can see what all it has. These phones are crazy with the amount of accessibility features that they have. There is captioning on the phone, and it's called live caption or live transcribe. I have it on here, and you don't have to click anything. You just push the little bubble, and all of a sudden it'll start captioning for you. And it's pretty good. And you can use it anywhere. So if they're traveling, if they're at a restaurant or anything like that, they can pop it up. There's features on here that tell you if a baby is crying. It's actually a baby monitor is on your phone. If somebody knocks at the door, if there is somebody who's having a coughing fit, it will alert you and it will say somebody appears to be coughing. Our students need to be aware of this. And it's super unfortunate that they're not allowed to have their cell phones in school with them. So definitely something to push back if you can. Okay. Next, ADA. We want to make sure that our students know what is a, now we go back to the disclosure and making sure that they tell people what their needs are and then that they can have access to different things. But there are some issues. So if you've got students that have interpreters, there's a whole section inside this transition section that talks about when you can request an interpreter, when the person that you're requesting an interpreter through is responsible for an interpreter and when they're not. There are some loopholes and some limitations. So anyway, we want to make sure that our students are familiar with ADA and what their rights and responsibilities are within that. So of course, I've got activities for ADA inside of the toolbox. And let me show this to you. This is a really great interactive activity. But at this point, I like to really use this as a fun activity. I talk about 504, and then we do these activities. What are our rights and responsibilities under 504? And then ADA comes next, and there's like little quizzes in here. Some of this has conversation about college. So if your students are going to college, then we want to lean into what their rights and responsibilities and accessibility is in those college setting. But also we've got it outside of college, just within the community. And that happens starting on slide number 19 here. Talk about 504. So we definitely want to make sure that our students are familiar with their, and here's the key term, rights and responsibilities under ADA and 504, because some students don't realize that they have responsibilities under that. If they don't disclose that they need access for something, if they need an interpreter or need something so that they can access something, they won't change anything for you if they don't know that you have a hearing loss. Really important that we talk about those rights and responsibilities, but also right here, discrimination, grievance, and appeal process. If our students do feel like they're being discriminated against, do they know the grievance and appeal process? And inside here, you can print it and you can talk through it. And then we're going to talk about our little binder that we keep at the end. I print everything that we're talking about here. I print it all. And then I give them a copy and they get this little beautiful little book in the end because they'll forget about all of this until the day that they need it. And then they'll be like, oh, shoot, what was that information that my teacher told me about? Number 6, the final one that I'm like, before you graduate, we have to make sure that you know this stuff well. And that is our government agencies and services. So this is DVR. This is knowing about SSI. This is knowing about Medicaid. This is and knowing how to sign up for these things when it's time. Okay, so in here, I've got two great resources for you if you are a member of the Academy. So the first one is the Guide to Important Government Agencies and Services. So these are the ones that we need to make sure that our students know about. They need to know what vocational rehab is. Around here, we call it DVR. And DVR should, I think with the funding, it changes, right? Sometimes there's waiting lists, sometimes there's not, sometimes they've got an abundance of funding. But your students need to know who DVR is and how they can get hooked up with them. And I really encourage my students to have an interview with DVR. But also there's something called SSI and then SSDI that they may qualify for. I've got families who have gotten an SSI check for their child. And when their child turns 18, that check is now supposed to go to that child. They don't always know that. I also have families who have said all along, we don't want this, we don't want a check from the government, but then their child ends up moving out on their own, and that check would be really helpful for them to help them pay their bills. And so we want to make sure that our students know what this is and they're aware of it. Also, Medicaid, which helps pay for hearing aids and cochlear implants. And then, are you guys familiar with this? This is the TEDPA program, the Telecommunication Equipment Distribution Program. Each state has their own. I live in Wisconsin. Wisconsin, our program is amazing. So it started way back when, and the goal was to be able to provide phones for people who couldn't hear. So this is back in literally the TTY days. So this program would provide a free TTY so that people who had a hearing loss would be able to communicate via the phone. In Wisconsin now, this has evolved that this voucher program will actually provide a cell phone for you, but it also will provide anything that connects to your cell phone. So it will provide for you like a baby monitor that's Bluetooth that goes to your cell phone. It will pay for a alarm clock. If it's Bluetooth, it goes to your cell phone. Smoke alarms, anything like that. And almost every state has them. It provides a voucher for up to, in Wisconsin, depending on your hearing loss, the one that most of my students qualify for is an $800 voucher that they get every 2 years. And that voucher, a lot of it is covered underneath that voucher. So I was just looking at, let me just give you a quick glimpse of what happens here. Commercial. Oh, I was thinking it. Eligibility, apply online, resources, equipment. Okay, so here's in Illinois, you can get vouchers for all of these phones. I know a lot of people aren't using these phones, but look, they have a voucher for your cell phone. So they'll provide cell phones for our students. If you've got a student who is not speech intelligible, then they'll actually provide an iPad. They'll provide the funding to be able to get these different technologies. So there are a couple states that don't have the program, but in Wisconsin, it takes about 2 minutes to fill this out. You don't have to send an audiogram. You don't have to get a doctor to fill anything out. You go online and you're like, I have a hearing loss. This is my type of hearing loss. And literally, they send you a voucher, they send you a check. So, this is really valuable for your students to be aware of and for you to be aware of. So, that goes under the section of government agencies and making sure that your students know what government agencies are available to them. And that's it. Those are the 6 things. The last thing I want to show you is this binder that you can actually create for your students with all of this information in it for you. Like I said, I literally go through these things and then I print it and then I put it in this binder. And then this is their graduation gift from me, is this binder with, it's got their audiogram in it. It's got all of these things that we've talked about, but all of these things that I'm just now talking about, it talks you through all of your different sections and different things that you can print and give to them. But it's much more effective if you're teaching it with them or reviewing it with them, and then you can put it away inside the binder and then keep it. And then when it's time, then that's their gift from you for graduation. All right, so just to review the 6 things that we want to make sure that our students know before they leave. Number 1, how to hop back into a conversation when they're lost. And role play and use their language. Number two, self-disclosure. When, how, where, why, what that looks like. And the effects of disclosing or not disclosing in different scenarios. Number three, independent management of their hearing aids, their hearing technology, understanding where they should go, what the differences are between different locations. Number four, current accessibility technology, especially on their phone, but not exclusively on their phone. Number five is ADA and navigating ADA and 504 in all of their different settings. And number six are those government agencies. So those are the 6 things we want to make sure that our students know before they graduate.